And now we move to the second panel of the day, and I'm very also excited about this because we are going to call upon stage the Honorable State Secretary Ms. Van Huffelen and the Honorable Prime Minister Wever Kroes to express a little bit more on the topic of this panel, Women in Office, Barriers, Strengths, and the Future, in that sense. So, Ms. Van Huffelen and Ms. Wever Kroes, you are both female leaders in office, advocating for the common interests of your communities. And I wanted to zoom in a little bit because I've seen on the LinkedIn of Ms. Van Huffelen that you had a visit at a department or organization that was concerned with disinformation and misinformation. You are public figures, you are constantly in the media, constantly in the news. Everybody would think they have an idea of who you are as people and as women. But I would like to ask both, and I'll start with Ms. Van Huffelen. As a female public figure, how do you deal with disinformation? And do you feel that men are being treated differently than women in this matter?
Well, thank you very much, Indra, and thank you all. I feel super inspired today about everybody, you know, that's been talking and also the panel and so on. I guess we can make this work, right? We can make this work. But yeah, thank you very much for your question also. Yeah, there is a lot of bashing, you might even say, in this world, and especially also my portfolio as a state secretary is not only about kingdom relations but also in digitalization, and disinformation is a large topic there, special social media, and there is a lot of disinformation, even personal attacks. One of the things that happened, for instance, in the Netherlands was with Mrs. Kaag, who's our Minister of Finance, first female Minister of Finance, gets a lot of trash spread over her on social media, and I have experienced it myself as well. And of course, yeah, I have very much, because statistics have been worked out, research has been done. For men, that's a lot less, or it's a lot less personal. So it's more about their policies or their job or the things that they find important in their work, but not about them as a person. It's not about their clothes, their looks, their whatever they did before, their weight, stuff like that. So that's not good, and I think it's very important that we address that all the time and say this is not good. You know, it's not about this. You need to talk about the policies or the things that people are and you can be pro or against, of course. So to address it is very important. It's there, we have to address it. But then on a personal note, and here I come a bit into what you were saying, if you take care of yourself, if you feel okay with the position and the job that you're doing, you can handle all that criticism. And not all the time as well, you know, as you maybe should. But on a general level, that's the way you know, if you feel right about yourself, if you believe that you're doing your utmost to do the job as best as you can, you know, then of course you have to also, yeah, just let it happen. Be still aware and fight against it, but also not let it get the best out of you. But yeah, this means a lot of what you were talking about. You have to feel mentally okay. You have to be, you know, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, have I done the best I could? And if you believe that you have done, then yeah, then you have to live with it. But it's still not okay. This misogyny is still strong. Yep. And needs to be tackled and fought and researched and put up front in the newspaper as well.
Thank you very much, State Secretary Van Huffelen, for the reflection. So very much being established in your own and having that confidence, and then being able to deal with the outer.
And then let them talk.
And let them talk, in that sense. So, Prime Minister, the question is the same to you. We obviously follow you here in the media and see the different perspectives. How do you deal with this aspect?
What can I add? I am a fan of communicating. I am a communicator. I like to communicate, and I try to do it well, I was raised by my mother who was a teacher, my grandmother was a teacher, so I like to do it on an educational way. So when there is this information, the first thing that comes to me is to set it straight. And then the same way that it is being presented. In that sense that if it's being presented on an objective way, it's just the information is incorrect, but the way it's presented it's respectful, it's objective, then that is the one I like the most. Because then I can be myself, I can try and explain, no, you don't see it correctly, this is it. And I take part of the responsibility because obviously I haven't been clear enough. So I try to be clearer. When the disinformation is bashing, that is not my good side. Cannot deal with that. Because you get emotional, and then you cannot communicate, and you cannot make the other person understand what you're dealing with. So that takes a lot of more energy to stay calm, even in those circumstances. Sometimes I'm successful in it, other times I'm not. In Aruba we have a new phenomenon, and that is not only bashing, but that is a very disrespectful way of treating women. It's almost sexism. Because I'm a woman and my colleague Minister of Finance, we are women, some people think they are entitled to use sexual things on us because they cannot contradict what we are saying objectively. They do not have a point on what the message we're bringing, but they want to break you as a person on other ways. I've seen a video made of myself, or not myself, but anyway, of a very exotic pole dancer. And they cut off the head of the pole dancer, they put my face on it. I don't really care. I mean, I'm 55, I'm very comfortable with my body. But I have children, I have a grandchild, my parents. It's not nice. So those are things that I do not like. But other than that, this information, I consider it actually part of the job, and it should be a sign to us that we have not been clear enough in the messaging.
But maybe I wanted to say something about, because those things about these little films that are made, or videos, they become more and more realistic, right? So there's more technology about that can make these fake videos realistic. And I think we should really fight it. But the one thing that should be done, actually, and I would like to call upon all of you, once a video like that appears in the press, you have to defend her and say, this is not correct. Because is this what we need to do for each other? And you might not agree on the policies that you're doing. It's fine, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But the idea of helping each other there, and next time if it's a video about you or whatever, say this is not right, this is not acceptable. The other thing is also about this attacking on an emotional level. This usually, I sometimes try to understand men. And I'm not very good at it, but I have a very great husband, and I usually ask him, so why is he doing that? Why is a man, trying to attack me personally or doing that? Usually it's because they cannot win on the content. So keep that in mind. It's just because he cannot win, he's trying to do it in that sense. Yeah. So then it becomes less important also.
That's true.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, for also showing the other aspect of what it actually does to a person in that sense, and being in office, and also State Secretary regarding our responsibility in the matter. So it's not only about policies, but it's our own behavior as well, which is a check for us as well. So I have the last panel question that we would like your reflection on, and I'll just have a little text that is provided by the UN regarding females in politics. So the UN mentions there's established and growing evidence that women's leadership in political decision-making processes improves them. More so, women demonstrate political leadership by working across party lines through parliamentary women caucuses, even in the most politically combative environments, and by championing issues of gender equality such as elimination of gender-based violence, parental leave, childcare, and electoral reform. So I would like to switch it now and go to our Prime Minister and ask you, what issue of gender equality would you still like to champion for?
In Aruba, we should not have legally nor officially any differences in pay, for example. But de facto there is difference in pay between men and women. And that cannot be explained otherwise than it's gender-based. And I think that's very unfair. I have 2 daughters, I have 1 son. I could not even start thinking that when they are all working that they would not be paid equally just because of their gender. You put a lot of effort in your studies and your work, and then you're not being paid equally. So that is something that I get very unsportive. And possibilities.
Right. Yeah.
It's, yeah, true. So it's the pay, the opportunities, of course, leave, maternity and paternity leave, if possible. But I would like to, if there's one thing on my top list, that is the equal pay for equal work, and do it de facto, because we have it officially in our laws, but now we have to make it happen.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. So even with all this representation, we still have work to do regarding this matter as well. Same question to the State Secretary, Ms. Huffelen, van Huffelen. What issue would you like to champion for?
Well, one of the things that I would like to champion for, it's a lot, because we're even worse than in positions, for instance, in management, is to make sure that more women take top positions in the Netherlands. And we have to make sure that childcare is being organized so they can take the positions. But yeah, it is that. It's more women at work, more women in full-time jobs, more women in top positions, childcare being organized right. Those are the things that I think we should champion for very strongly. To make sure that we set the role models, the examples, and make sure that women have more opportunities. We're doing quite good, like here, in education. So more girls go to university. They actually do better. Yeah, so which is good. So there is not the real big challenge, but it's more in the workplace and everything that's needed. And as you said, this also requires something from also in equality. So it shouldn't be only childcare for women, of course, but for leave, paternity leave should also be implemented. Loads of things to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister and Ms. van Huffelen. Yeah. 4 years is not sounding as enough for the things that need to be done still. So
no, and also something else as well. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you for participating in this panel. We now will continue to the second part of our program.
Yeah.
Just before the picture.
Hey, but can I just say something else? Because I truly also believe that I'm really a fan of female leadership. And there's loads of things that we need to do together, Aruba and the Netherlands in the coming time. And I'm really hopeful, and I was so happy to see some of the women that I already saw the last time I was here, which was my first time as a state secretary, that we can really get it done together. I think I'm truly believing that that will help. And I'm so happy to be here and to see so many great women around. If we can't nail it, who can, right?